Nintendo keeps denying that they're building a connected universe, but there's a mountain of evidence in the new Super Mario Galaxy movie that says otherwise. For years, Nintendo has been telling us the same thing, that a connected universe isn't in the cards, and that they're just focused on making good, standalone movies. There's no grand plan, there's no secret roadmap, that's what they're telling us. But after seeing the Super Mario Galaxy movie for myself, I can tell you one thing, that's complete bullshit. So the new Super Mario Galaxy movie just hit theaters. This movie isn't just a sequel, it's a linchpin. It's a film that proves that they're building a Nintendo cinematic universe, right under our noses. It's so full of evidence that today I'm gonna try and pin down every single piece on the board, every little subtle nod that proves that the MCU isn't just a theory, it's actually been their plan the entire time. Let's start with the most obvious clue, something that's less of an Easter egg and more of a giant flashing sign. The Star Fox team, which I don't know why they spoiled this so early. Maybe this is their way of trying to prove that they're not trying to hide the cinematic universe and just give it to you on a platter saying, hey, this is the movie, this is who's in it. But I still don't think they did themselves any favors. So when it comes to Star Fox, they don't just give you some blurry ship in the background. The movie gives you a full-blown backstory with an anime-inspired montage for Fox McCloud. We see his entire crew, Falco, Peppy, even Slippy, whose design is a perfect throwback to the Star Fox 64 look. The real ones will know. You even get to see a massive dogfight in a scene that feels ripped straight out of one of the games. This isn't just a wink, this is basically a pilot episode for a Star Fox movie, snuck right inside of a Mario movie. Think back to Marvel's Phase 1. Remember when Agent Coulson found Thor's hammer in New Mexico? Or Hawkeye's brief cameo? Those weren't just random moments, they were seeds. And that's exactly what Nintendo is doing. They used a massive platform of a Mario movie, which by the way, has done very, very well, to reintroduce completely different franchises to a global audience. They're getting us comfortable with these characters so that when we finally see them again, or they announce a standalone film like a Star Fox film, the groundwork's already been laid. This isn't just a fan service, although there's a lot of that. It's a calculated business move, and it's the first of a huge crack in Nintendo's story. If the Star Fox cameo was a shout, then these next details are more like whispers. Let's talk about Metroid. Hidden in one of the scenes in the backgrounds is the iconic gunship. It's one of those blink and you'll miss it type of things, but it's the type of breadcrumb that Marvel perfected, like Captain America's shield just randomly sitting on a desk. Also, for the people who have eagle eyes, in the background you can also make out Captain Falcon's Blue Falcon. That's another one of Nintendo's space heroes. These are very deliberate groupings, and it suggests that while Mario's out there saving the galaxy, there are other heroes out there operating in the same space. The first movie introduced us to Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Bowser, Donkey Kong, and Diddy Kong. And in the new film, we get a proper introduction to Rosalina and Luma, Bowser Jr., Yoshi, Fox McCloud, Falco, R.O.B., Mr. Game & Watch, and Piranha Plant. And, well, spoiler alert, Princess Daisy at the end of the post-credit scene. I say all that to say, what is the endgame? What do you think Nintendo's endgame is? These can't just be coincidences. That's the question that unlocks this whole conspiracy. And the answer is Super Smash Bros. The Super Mario Galaxy movie isn't just setting up spin-offs, although it's doing that very well. It's building a foundation for the ultimate crossover event. Think Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. That's what Nintendo's building up towards. To me, it's the film's visual language. I mean, they even went so far as to using Marvel's recipe of using post-credit scenes in the end of the first movie, and they did so again with this one. What do you think the point of them doing that is? To not only expand the universe, a cinematic universe, I mean, that's by the very definition, that's what they're doing, but they're also expanding the roster of heroes for a future team up. I mean, it's not just throwaway lines when they say things like there's a whole galaxy out there. That carries meaning, but I don't know, maybe that's Nintendo's loophole letting all these different franchises exist in the same reality. But why would they need to exist in the same reality? Why would you need to continue to introduce characters that happen to be on the Super Smash Bros. Roster? By the way, between the first and the second film, I think there's like a total of like 80 plus people on the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. Nintendo has almost introduced 20% of that roster between two films already. The first film introduced a handful, but this second film, Super Mario Galaxy movie, has introduced so many characters, so many hints of other characters, so many IPs are in this film, and they can deny it all they want, but why would you have 20% of your Super Smash Bros. Roster already introduced in front of the global audience? Now, whenever they come out with the next film, which there's no reason to believe that they wouldn't because these movies are so successful, but that number is going to shoot up even more. And if there's even more of these characters from that roster in the film, then I mean, there's no denying it. You can deny it all you want, but there's no denying it. Now, I know there's a live action Zelda movie coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they lay some seeds for a Zelda, animated Zelda in this world somewhere, or they fly by Hyrule or something, just something subtle. Just because they're doing a live action one doesn't stop them from making an animated version. If you ask me, This is just a blueprint for a Super Smash Bros. Crossover event. And you can't just throw all these characters together without first establishing that they live somewhere in the universe. So this is done very deliberately. The first film already kind of laid the groundwork of some spin-offs that they could do, but this film is definitely threw gas on the fire. Now I know what you might be thinking, but Nintendo keeps denying it. Well, you telling me that Nintendo's going to turn down a chance to have a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate event in the theaters? That is so much money just left on the table that they're not going to do that. They are not going to do that. There's too much potential with that. And they know the more that they do this, the more the demand is going to grow for that. And eventually, they're going to give in and they're going to give the people what they want. We just got to keep putting that pressure on them. So yeah, of course they're going to deny it. What else would they do? They're going to spoil a big surprise? No. They want that Avengers type of feel. And there's been nobody else who's been able to deliver that type of experience. DC has faltered. Although DC is a lot better than what it was in the Zack Snyder era. I'm sorry for the Snyder cults out there, man, but those movies suck. The gun has got that thing rolling. The gun don't miss. But Nintendo might be one of the only other ones with the amount of IP. After watching the movie, I did not realize how many IP characters that I really recognize. When I think of Mario and Pikachu and Zelda now, I think those are like the main only ones. But like if you go back and look at the movie or even just a Super Smash Bros. Roster, there are so many recognizable characters. It's actually pretty crazy. We just don't really think about them all the time if you're not like a daily Nintendo user. So I say all that to say that the denials aren't proof that there isn't an MCU. The denials are part of the strategy. Nintendo wants to be deeply involved in the cinematic experience of crossover events. And let's be real, Nintendo's always been cautious. They stayed away from Hollywood for decades, and I think they sat back, they watched the formula, and they're now ready to execute. So the Super Mario Galaxy movie is the key. While Nintendo executives give their careful rehearsal denials, the film itself tells a completely different story. It's screaming to the world that Nintendo Cinematic Universe is happening, although they may not call it that. So yes, they might be lying to us, but it's only to protect what could be the biggest cinematic project of the decade. And I say that because Doomsday and Secret War comes out this decade. By the time the next decade rolls around, the Super Smash Bros. Crossover event might be the biggest thing happening. They're building it piece by piece, right in front of us, hiding it in plain sight. But now we know the truth. The only question is what's next. The board is already set, the pieces are moving. But I want to know, what Easter eggs from the Galaxy movie was the one that convinced you that they're building a full cinematic universe? Let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.